Oh,
Ready as I'll ever be.
I don't think I'm ever going to be ready to do this.
No,
Um,
but we're not professionals.
I guess.
Yeah,
Because this is going to be difficult.
I know.
This is going to be a difficult one to do. Shout out to everybody who is excited to watch this.
I know. We've had a few people tell us they're
Yeah,
excited.
we have a few people telling us, man, we can't wait for y'all to do that third episode.
I know. I had somebody ask me if we filmed it all together, and I said no. If we filmed it all together, it would have been like 6 hours.
Right. It would be 6 hours. That's why we broke it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because in this one, we're going to go over the theory.
Your theory?
Oh, okay. My theory? Is it not yours?
We'll see.
My theory on the reasons why I believe there is an existence of God.
Okay. In the ways that he showed himself to you.
Well, that, and since it's a theory and this is a discussion,
Yes.
I want someone to prove me wrong. But you have to do it factually,
Mm-hmm.
not opinion based, not what you think. Because there's a difference.
There is.
Because 3 years ago, if you'd asked me what I thought, it would have been different.
I can believe that.
Which would have been my opinion,
Correct.
which was not fact based.
No.
So I did my research and did a factual investigation on this whole thing called God.
Yeah.
Right. So I hope you all enjoy the ride.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, please.
It's a wild one.
Lady Robo, I just want you to know that I love you. I told you that I would prove to you that God exists. And I always follow through on my promises. So thank you for leaving me. Because you're the whole reason why we did these videos, at least for me.
I'd agree.
So let me follow through on one more promise I have.
It's a good way to live life.
You should. You should always do what you say you're going to do.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, if you quit, if you give up, then how were you ever supposed to get there?
Yeah. If you don't allow yourself to fail, how are you going to rise from it?
Right. Like we were saying on the way down here, life is not about what happens to you.
Nope.
It's how you respond.
Yes, it is.
It's how you respond.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, the energy you put out, you receive.
Oh, absolutely. You put out bad energy, you're going to receive bad energy
That's
back.
right.
I have plenty of examples of that.
Yep.
More good than bad, but
Mm-hmm.
I did used to live a life on the wild side.
Same. So we started this journey talking about the true meaning of homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
Because homelessness is not your external world.
Mm-hmm.
Homelessness is your internal world. The prison you keep yourself in, known as your head.
Yes.
That right there is speaking on a soul spiritual level.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only real thing you have control of in this life is not what happens to you, is not what you do, is not any of those things. The only real thing you have control of are your thoughts, how you process your feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and being in control of yourself.
Correct. And how you decide to act those out at some point.
Exactly. How you decide to act those out.
Mm-hmm. Because I do not act out every thought that I have. If I did, then I'd probably be in an insane asylum.
Oh, I would have been in a psych ward a long time ago.
Exactly.
I mean, I've told you some of my thoughts.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, I shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm going to. This is where my brain goes.
Correct.
And it's not really a good place.
No.
No.
Sometimes people let their intrusive thoughts win. So.
Right.
Yeah.
But in that first episode, we discussed happiness and joy, appreciation,
Absolutely.
and living in the moment.
Absolutely.
Being grateful for the little things, like simply riding in a car and listening to music. In the second episode, which I'm sure many people listened to and they were like, holy shit. Because we talked about blessings.
Yes.
But we didn't talk about blessings like we're blessed to sit here in front of this beautiful river and with the hill over there and the boat and everything else. Like this is not a blessing.
We didn't talk about the simple blessings.
Right.
I woke up today. I had food today.
Right. We talked about something else. Being thankful for something you normally wouldn't be. Because God works in mysterious ways.
Absolutely.
He works in ways that defy human logic. Being thankful for the impossible things in life. Like the impossible blessings of a car accident and a brain tumor. The impossible blessings.
Absolutely.
You know, last night we went and watched a horse race. What was my reaction to watching that horse that won?
Holy shit.
Yeah. I walked over to the owners and I was like, dude, that horse is fucking great.
Yeah. Right out the gate.
And the thing was, is the people that do own that horse, you could feel how blessed they are and how thankful they are that horse exists.
Oh, absolutely. You just see it.
Yeah, you could see it on them.
It was radiating.
You could see it on them. They were like, thank you, God, for this horse. Because I know one thing. The horses I was around, there ain't no fucking way could have ran with that horse, dude.
Yeah.
That horse got out and stayed out. Like, it was just like, nah, fuck it, I'm winning this.
Like a bolt of lightning.
Yeah. Yeah. Horse rolled the whole way. But that's also a beautiful creation put here on this earth by the grace of God.
Absolutely.
And if you don't view that way, then how are you ever supposed to appreciate it?
Right.
How are you ever going to be grateful that you have that in life? Today is a very important day.
Yes, it is.
What was it, 4 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago, I saw this thing come across my Twitter feed. It talked about a girl that walked out in the middle of the French Open and tied herself to the net. And her shirt said, "We have 1,058 days left." Now, what's funny is, when you looked that up the other day, I said this the other day, I said, what's funny is that when you said that to me, or showed it to me, the girl that was in there was not what I remember. Then when we looked up the dates,
it didn't line up.
It didn't line up. Now, I could choose to think that my brain was wrong, and I could choose to think that the things I looked up was wrong. Or I can remember that the internet is also controlled.
Exactly. It's altered.
It's altered. That girl was not who I saw tie herself to a net. You want to know why I know it's not?
How come?
Because I screenshotted it.
Smart.
Before they changed it.
It's very wise to do.
Mm-hmm. She was a blonde, very angelic looking woman that did that. And she sat there with no emotional, just anything. The girl that was on yours had this very angry look on her face. And the thing about it is that I did something all those years ago that you can't deny. I wrote down the date of 1,058 days later, 4 or 3 years ago. And that date was 3/15/2025. And I didn't understand the significance of that day until I started thinking about it. March 15th, 2025 is 3/15/2025. If you break down those numbers, that is 3, 1 and 5 is 6, 2, 0, 2, 5 is 9. And the key to the universe is 369.
Mm-hmm.
We're down here in the country, bro. You're going to have to get over it. It's okay.
Well, from my angle, it looks like a tree is on fire.
It probably is.
But I didn't see the person sitting there.
We're country as fuck down here, dude.
That's not where my mind went.
That's okay.
My mind went, there's a tree on fire and there's nobody around it.
Even if there was, it'd just be like, yep, there's the devil trying to stop us.
I was going to go the other way. But yeah, 369.
369 is the key to the universe. Whoever would have thought 3 or 4 years ago that 369, the key to the universe, is the day that we were going to discuss the existence of God?
Wouldn't have pictured this when I met you 3 years ago.
Wouldn't have pictured this when I met you 3 years ago either. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to the existence of God, which you can prove me wrong on, and I want you to. I want someone to prove me wrong on my theory on the existence of God.
Right.
But I really don't think you can. I really don't think you can with what I have to say here. I really don't. I don't see how you could possibly prove me wrong. But we have talked about a few things in our little journey here on the existence of God.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, we're going to talk about something else. Understanding and the true meaning of forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Because we've talked about being grateful, we talked about joy, we talked about happiness, we talked about blessings, we talked about miracles.
Mm-hmm.
There really shouldn't have been a miracle.
Correct.
And we're going to talk about how you do all that, because you have to have understanding and you have to have forgiveness.
Absolutely. 2 important pieces to knowing who God is.
Mm-hmm. But before we get to that, we got a few things that we just need to put out here.
Okay.
Just for people to hear.
Fair enough.
And this is where I'm going to go into this that you sent me. I don't know who this person is, nor do I really care. But they said this. They said, lack of integrity doesn't mess up your public image. Which I think is fantastic, because your public image has no weight on your integrity.
Mm-hmm.
It only clarifies it. Your public image and how you portray yourself and how you put yourself off to be is only clarified. So if you lack integrity, it does not matter what you look like out here in the external world. Because that lack of integrity is always going to come back to you. Someone is going to figure you out. Someone is going to realize who you really are. And that's both sides of it, because we all have duality. People will figure out your good side, and then they will figure out your bad side, especially if you lack moral code and integrity. And there's nothing you can say to me against that, because guess what? You are the one putting yourself out there.
You are correct.
You can't, instead of being mad or angry at someone because they are right, maybe you should be mad and angry at yourself because you are wrong.
Yeah, I can agree with that. There's plenty of times where you've been right and I get frustrated at myself because I'm like, Joe's actually right about something.
Yeah. I don't try to be right.
No.
At all. You are on your journey and I am on my journey. I could give not like I want something, but I could give a shit less at how you live your life.
Right.
That's not my responsibility.
Correct.
I can't control you.
Correct. At the end of the day, I have to hold my own accountability.
You have to hold yourself accountable for the decisions you make in life.
Correct.
You know, what you put out, you receive.
Yes.
That's just a universal law, which we will touch on later. But I do want to say this. If someone, we could use many examples of this. But this is just not holding yourself accountable. If you were to message somebody and say, I did not intentionally mean to hurt you, but if you don't realize that you doing something, if you know it's going to hurt that person, for instance, talking shit about them online, leaving someone who deeply loves and cares about you, you should know that that's going to hurt them. Which there is no fucking way you can say, I did not intentionally mean to hurt you, especially if you knew what you were doing was going to hurt them. That is not holding yourself accountable. All the time we sat in silence when all you all were talking shit about us. This is why we sat silent. Because
tell them how you really feel.
You know, honestly, that move is a move that people do not realize.
No.
Our move, not theirs. The thing about it is that when they started doing that, our silence, you know what it was? We were taking the proverbial shovel and handing it to them and saying, here, dig your own fucking grave. Because no matter what now, if you go against somebody who just loved you and appreciated your company and your presence, and they don't say anything and just hand you the proverbial shovel to dig your own grave, the further you go, the deeper the hole.
Silence is a form of protection as well.
It is. That's how you protect yourself. You know, if somebody doesn't give a shit enough about you to communicate to you and all those things like that, silence speaks louder than words.
Yes, it does.
Let you know, hey, this is how I feel about this. I still may love you.
Absolutely. And I can still forgive you for what you have done to me.
Yep. Because forgiveness is very important.
Yes, it is.
So speaking of understanding and forgiveness, understanding is a very important thing in this thing called life. Because without understanding, you truly can't forgive someone.
Mm-hmm. Without understanding, communication is nothing.
Correct. Only your actions do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're doing something. You can say all you want. But like I said earlier, if you say, I'm going to go do this, and then you quit trying, you're failing.
It's the old saying, actions speak louder than words.
Actions do speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
Every single time.
And time again.
Yep.
You and I have both shown to each other that actions are louder than words.
True. That's why when all the people talk shit about me whenever I'm around with you, and you're like, you all can say all you want about him, but you all did not do any of these things that he has done.
Mm-hmm.
Because unlike you speak and talk a big game, but you don't actually do anything for my benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly don't care.
Exactly.
By the way, you're going to have to stay here. I know it's pretty out here, but I need you to be right here. Thank you. You appreciate it.
Yes, I do.
I know.
You're right.
I know. In case you all aren't picking up what's going on here. Do you want to say it?
No, you can say it.
You see, there's this thing about reaching a certain level of just being a human that you all don't realize. And nor will they ever, because they will never reach this level because they're afraid of it. But I knew what you were feeling and what you were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just sitting here in silence.
Yeah.
I just did it again.
Yeah.
Because you're smiling.
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. And I know you love me. You just thought that too, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's a funny thing being around horses for a while. Because you can't talk to them.
Any animal.
Or can you?
Mm.
We are still just biological creatures.
Yes,
That's all we are.
Mm-hmm. What separates us from the other mammals and amphibians and birds of the air is a soul.
I wouldn't say that. This is where we might differ. I actually think that animals do have a soul.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of funny. I don't know why people don't look at themselves this way. You can get a dog that has been abused its whole life.
Correct.
And how does that dog behave around people?
Fearful.
Fearful. But what happens when it gets around a human that actually, treats it right?
It's very loving.
Mm-hmm.
Very submissive.
Mm-hmm. So I think animals do have a soul. The thing about it is that the way they are treated is detrimental to that soul. So they behave in a way that makes them protect themselves.
I'd call those emotions in an animal.
That's fine too. I know plenty of fucking horses that are stupid.
Yeah. I've met some dumb cats.
I've met some dumb dogs.
Yeah. We've met some dumb people.
Yes, we have. That was good. We have met some dumb people. I don't even care to say it, dude.
I don't either.
I don't even care to say it. But there's this thing about understanding.
Mm-hmm.
There's this thing about miracles. So we had touched on in the first episode, and I think the second episode, talking about understanding someone when you really shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And how I said when I first met you, I never thought in my life I would love a drug addict and date a drug addict. But I didn't say, or maybe I did. I may have said, the thing about it is I understood her.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very different level of loving someone.
Yes, it is.
We're going to get rained on.
Yes, we are.
Perfectly fine. It should be okay.
We should be fine.
We should be fine. So, and the funny thing is that this is documented because there was a tweet that I had put out that got your attention.
Correct.
I had a picture of my at the time girlfriend sitting at a table with me down on the beach eating breakfast.
It was documented, yes.
And then a year later, I posted the same picture without her in it. And I said, crazy how much a year can change things. So when I first met my girlfriend down there in Nashville, I was down fishing across from Broadway. It's during COVID, so there's no one down there. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And she came down to the river by herself. And luckily I was standing there. I'm also a little irritated with her because right as she was coming down, something took off with my fishing, one of my poles, and I went, sweet. So I'm sitting there fishing, and she walks up to me. She's like, oh man. And I went, here you go, bring it on in. And I wasn't upset about the fact that she brought my fish in. What I was upset about the fact is that it was a gar, and I've never caught a gar, so it pissed me off. I was like, damn it. So from there, we started hanging out with each other. And it's during COVID, so we pretty much became best friends because of the fact that we had to. And this is where the understanding comes in. Because one day, we were down listening to music, and me and her were out in the back of my truck, shotgun and White Claws, having a good time.
Yeah.
And this was a few months after we had really known each other. And I knew she was doing things that I didn't approve of, and I was, whatever. One day she looked at me and she goes, hey, I need to tell you something. And if you choose to leave, I would understand. She looks at me and goes, I didn't tell you, but a few months ago, when COVID started, on March 16th, my boyfriend, who they had been dating for a long time and they wanted to marry each other, killed himself. So not only did he kill himself, he also put her in a position during COVID that she was stuck inside her house by herself to her own demise. after dealing with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We may have to make a scene change.
Yeah, I think we might have to make a scene change. Yeah.
Scene change. Scene change. Sorry.
Don't want to sit that close to you. I'll be knocking these. What's in my pocket? Pens.
Oh, man, I went. It's okay.
I know.
It's all right.
Didn't bring a proper
This chair is going to break right in the middle of this whole thing.
Yeah, you might want to switch it for the other one.
It's broke too.
Not in the same spot, I think,
Yep.
but who knows?
Yep. Same spot.
Okay. You want to go grab a different chair?
Nah, it's okay.
Okay. Don't fall. Understanding.
Yeah, understanding. So after she told me this, she took a little bit of a spiral and we parted ways. During that time, me and my boys had a fantastic bachelor party for my best friend from college. Couldn't have beat it. And instead of doing, we were supposed to actually be down in Nashville for the actual bachelor party that we had planned, which we never got our money back. But
damn.
Yeah, it's great. We were supposed to be right up the street from where the bomb went off. The place we were going to stay at is still not open to this day. And we didn't get our money back, so now you see why I'm a little fucking irritated about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like $2,400.
You have other reasons why to be irritated with Nashville.
Yeah, I have quite a few. But in between there, I met my best friend from college. I met his cousin. And she treated me in a way that I should have appreciated, and I didn't. Because it was real.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people tend to get stuck on this thought process. When they see somebody having an emotional reaction to their behavior, they think, this person is codependent on me, and they can't survive without me. When the right way to think about that is, this person is having this much of an emotional reaction to my behavior because they truly love me. When you don't take an emotional standpoint of somebody where they're at, you're thinking the wrong way. Like if somebody, comes at you and it's not even about you. But you know how much it's going to hurt me. It doesn't even involve you.
No, it doesn't.
But it involves me. And I know that you truly love me.
It's not my job to protect you, but it is somewhat of my job as your friend to emotionally protect you.
Absolutely. It is my job to protect you, which you saw.
Mm-hmm. Plenty of times.
Yep. And it's not always in a physical manner.
No.
Ever. Somebody asked me one time, hey man, why didn't you stick with your friend's cousin? Because she would have done anything for you and she truly would have loved you. By the way, this was like last month. So this is well after the fact of any of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, because if I had chose to stay with her, this one wouldn't be alive. I knew she was going to be okay.
You knew she was stable.
Mm-hmm. So, by the grace of God, for some reason, my ex-girlfriend in Nashville started coming back into my life. And it wasn't because she was trying to get something from me. It was because of any of that. It's because she knew that I knew what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
She knew I understood. And someone understanding you is extremely important.
Yes, it is.
Because you don't leave someone who actually understands you.
Correct.
On a physical level, on a mental level, on an emotional level, and on a spiritual level. You don't ever leave that person.
I would agree with you on that.
But see, the thing about it is that our relationship was not always chaotic. There was a reason why I stayed with her.
Mm-hmm.
She truly was my best friend. She truly still is my best friend. It's just that
different paths right now.
Life did what it did.
Exactly.
And she for instance, so during COVID, since there was nothing to do in Nashville,
mm-hmm.
and a car got thrown through my grocery store, and then COVID started, so I had nothing anyways, neither did she. And everybody was gone, because everybody fled to Nashville out of California, and then they all went back home, and also New York and Chicago, I think, and some other areas. Either way, they all fled Nashville because they weren't from there, so they all went back home. And Nashville was a ghost town to the point that, like, I used to sit on the other side of the river,
mm-hmm.
Fishing on this dock, and it was so quiet in Nashville that I could hear the hard rock guitar turning.
Yeah.
Homeless guys digging through the trash.
Yeah.
Across the river, dude.
Yeah.
And because of all that, I had one of the greatest experiences I ever had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because me and her were like, you know what? We don't have anything. So let's just survive.
Mm-hmm.
So me and her lived on an island in the middle of Percy Priest down there in Nashville for weeks on end. And then I would like go back to my apartment, which was right on the street, pay some bills or collect my unemployment.
Right.
And I would be out, and there was a park in downtown Nashville that I would take a cast net and throw it out in it because it had bait fish in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would go out and we would set up our little home away from home on this island.
Yeah.
And then I took a bunch of big bottles of crayon apple juice, which is better with vodka, by the way, crayon apple juice, and made these float, like I spray painted them green and had these lights in them.
Yeah.
Like I got like $1 light from Walmart, and whatever and rigged it up. So it was like, we'd be sitting on the island, having a good time, doing whatever. Next thing you know, you see this bottle just.
Yeah.
And so it was like Jaws, you're like chasing it down, like, oh my God, we need another barrel.
Right. Yeah.
That's how we survived.
Mm-hmm.
Wild story from all this. I was down in Florida, sitting at a bar. And this guy was sitting over here on his computer doing stuff. And I'm just sitting there eating, doing whatever. And he's packing up, getting ready to leave. And he looks at me, he's like, hey man, you look familiar. And I went, you do too. I don't know why. So we started talking. And I go, hey. Or he goes, yeah, man, I live on a houseboat. I used to live in Nashville on a houseboat in Percy Priest. And I looked at him and I went, I know why I know you. He goes, why? I went, do you remember these two people who used to just stay out on an island out in Percy Priest? And every morning you would come by around 7:30 in the morning on a green kayak. And we would be standing out there doing whatever and we'd wave at you. And you just went on. He goes, holy shit. He's like, dude, that was you.
Yeah.
And I went, and that was you.
Yeah.
Which is also documented in the old Twitter world.
You are correct.
Yep, also documented. How in the hell does that happen, by the way?
There's no such thing as coincidences.
Mm-hmm. So, truly, me and her reached a level between two people that most people don't ever achieve.
Because of understanding.
Yep. Because the moment I lost her, I can still see vividly in my just vision. You see, the thing about drugs is that I don't consider marijuana a drug. I don't consider mushrooms a drug. But if you're doing something that someone can manipulate,
mm-hmm.
that should qualify it as a drug. So if you're doing hard drugs, eventually you're going to come across something that someone manipulated.
Yeah.
Still vividly to this day, I can see her looking at me and saying, I don't know what I did last night, but something's wrong in my head. And that was the last moment I had with her.
Or it was fully her.
Mm-hmm. Witnessing somebody vanish in front of you who you love is one of the worst things ever to go through in this human existence. When you know that it's not them. It's something else.
I can understand that because I had a grandparent go through Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm. Watching someone vanish in front of you who you love and cherish in this world is one of the worst experiences anyone could go through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Go for it.
Guys, quit using aluminum. Stay away from fluoride. I don't even give a shit to say it. If you don't believe that fluoride is bad for you.
There's one more in there that I'm trying to think of.
If you don't believe that fluoride is bad for you, go on the FDA website.
Look it up.
Look it up.
Do your research.
It's a stage 4 neurotoxin. And if you think you are a high-level thinking human being, but you don't think fluoride is bad for you, just know that the person you look down on because of their job and their way of life looks down on you because in their job, they're working, dealing with your shit with their ass crack hanging out. But they know that fluoride is not good for you.
Yes, they do.
So who really is a lesser of a person here? Do remember, you're also paying them to take care of your shit.
Yeah.
So who really?
Who is more limited?
Who is more limited here? Plumbers know that fluoride is not good for you.
Correct.
Doctors don't.
Damn.
We were having this conversation on the way down here. We were like, dude, we are still biological creatures.
Correct.
At some point, you have to think, how in the hell did we survive all this time without pharmaceuticals? How did we get here as a human species?
Yeah. You have to have an open mind. You have to throw small-mindedness out the window. You become free when you do.
I need to say something on here because this is a trigger warning. I am going to be honest with you. By the end of this video, I am going to make you question your reality. I need you to be prepared for that mentally. In case I haven't already. In case I haven't already.
This is true.
There's a lot I just want to hit. I just want to hit.
Know.
Let me just get through this. Okay. You see, the thing about understanding is that you understand why somebody would do something like slowly kill themselves with drugs and alcohol. Because you have an understanding of them, of why they're doing it. Because in all honesty, I would do the same thing. I would like to think that I would never do these things. I would like to think all that. But then I look back on my life and I was like, you know what? The reasons I drank myself to death wasn't because I enjoyed doing it, which I did, but it wasn't because of that. It was because I did not handle things well.
You were just trying to numb it.
I was trying to numb the bad decisions I made in life.
Correct. You were trying to put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole.
Yep. I wasn't learning my lessons.
You were repeating the cycle.
I was repeating the cycle. I look back on my life. And before I used to look back on my life and think, oh, that just happened because of this, whatever. That's not the case. Life does not happen to you. It happens for you. And when you can get that in your brain, then you'll start learning the lessons you're supposed to. So you stop the vicious cycle of the things you're not learning in life.
Correct.
This is how it works. So I had this understanding of her. And I understood why she did the things she did. And for somebody to really understand where it's at, I watched this person who I loved and cherished disappear. And I watched things consume that person and change them. If you subtract the drugs and alcohol, if you don't realize that you need to control your thoughts and emotions, people around you who love you and cherish and appreciate you are going to watch you disappear in front of them. And the person you put off to be. Not actually you. Because for someone to love you and cherish you and appreciate you, they know you. They know you. They also want to try to stop you from making the same mistakes they did.
They want to hold you accountable.
Yeah. Because if you won't do it, at least someone else will.
Someone cares enough to try.
Someone cares enough to try to make you hold yourself accountable.
That's just a simple definition of love.
But to truly forgive someone, it is not loving them, it's understanding them. That's the only way to achieve true forgiveness. Because if you don't truly understand someone of why they did what they did to themselves, then you're trying to understand why they did what they did to you. And if they don't understand why they did it, then you're never going to understand why.
How are you going to understand it?
Right. The only way to get your why of why somebody did something is because you have to understand them. And that is the only true way to forgive them. Because if you don't understand why and you're trying to figure out why they did something to you, you're not truly forgiving them at all levels. So I thank God every day that she's still alive. Because she shouldn't be.
Yeah.
The amount of times I would be terrified to walk into her house because I didn't know if I was going to find her dead or alive. All the times I had to rush down to her house in the middle of the night to run her to the emergency room. All the times that I had to call her mom and say, hey, I think we have a problem and I can't fix this one. If you've never loved someone on that level, then you don't understand. I easily could have picked the easier road there. With someone I knew loved me. Who was one of the most beautiful human beings walking this earth. I knew if I chose her, the other person would not survive. I just knew that she would be okay. At the time, I didn't.
But subconsciously and deep down.
But deep down, I literally was like, I can't leave this person because if I do, they will not be here anymore. And her mom and dad are like my second mom and dad. And I was not going to allow that to happen to them. So thankfully, they got her out of the situation that she was in, where me and her had 0 rate of survival. And she is still alive today. And I thank God every single day, because she is a walking miracle.
Absolutely.
Also, if you have someone in your life who understands you, that means they can forgive you for things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't understand that, you are living your life in a less of a way than a drug addict. Because at least that drug addict can love someone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had many things happen to me in this life. My best friend, who I thought was my brother on this earth, sold me out. And I'm not going to say what happened, because it's neither here or there. But he sold me out, and ever since then, my life has not been the same. And to this day, even when I talk to some of my friends who knew us, they say, you have nothing to give to that person. And I reply with, hey, let it go. I did.
Mm-hmm.
You were standing there at our first ever FCC game when I had messaged my best friend, who I hadn't talked to in years. And I told him that I was sorry for leaving. Because I am never going to understand why he did what he did.
Correct.
Part of me is like, well, I know why he did what he did, because we were best friends, to the point that, like, we'd be out at a bar and I'd be, hey, you're a shithead. Like, you know, like, quit acting like a shithead, please.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we were at a level of being dudes that he would get drunk and act a fool. And this is a long time ago, but we were down in Nashville. And we were walking back to our hotel because he was acting like a fucking moron. So he was on one side of Broadway and I'm on the other side of Broadway, and we're yelling at each other from across the street, walking a mile back to Music Row. Well, we got back to the hotel and I was like, I'm one of the losers, bro. You want to come over? And he was like, fuck you. And I was like, all right, see ya.
Yeah.
So I went to Losers and had myself some beers and had a good old time. And I get back to the hotel room and I go to use my key. And it pops red. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go down to the front desk and I say, hey, my key's not working. And they were like, what's it doing? And I was like, it's flashing red. And they're like, oh, that means it's locked from the inside. I go, oh, okay. Is that hotel room in my name? And they were like, no. I went, how much does a door cost? And it's like $750. And I went, okay.
Okay.
So I walk back up and I, knock on the door. Doesn't answer. And I say, dude, if you don't come open this door, I'm coming in. And he didn't. So I proceeded to kick the door in.
Okay.
So the next morning, this is how much we're dudes. The next morning, he looks at me and goes, the fuck happened to the door? I went, your fucking stupidity happened to the door? And he was like, what the fuck? He was like, did I do that? And I was like, nope, but you did.
Yeah.
He's like, what happened? I was like, well, you locked the door. I couldn't get in. Walked down to the front desk. They said, oh, it's locked from the inside? And then I asked if the hotel room was in your name, and they said yes. So I said, perfect. His response was, how much did it cost? $750. Good move. Good move, dude.
Yeah.
But there's one thing about forgiveness. And this is the hard part of forgiveness. You see, the thing about forgiveness is To truly forgive someone, you have to understand them.
Mm-hmm.
I understood that me and him had a great time. I understood that me and him acted a fool together. I understood that me and him probably drank a little too much. So eventually I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to blame him for what happened. I made the choices I made. I would do them again from where I was at. But to truly forgive someone, you have to understand them.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't people try this? Why don't you try forgiving someone you truly understand? Who else in this world do you truly understand?
I would say the only other person that you can truly understand is oneself.
Correct. You only understand yourself because the things that you don't tell people, that you have hidden, locked inside there, that you don't tell anyone about because you don't want them to think anything of you, the things you're not proud of, you are the only person who is ever going to understand why you did what you did or why you didn't do what you didn't do.
Mm-hmm. And there also, even if you don't fully understand somebody, you can forgive them.
Yes. That is understanding and forgiving someone.
Yes. But to get to that point,
to really figure out what forgiveness is,
mm-hmm.
you should try to forgive the one person you understand the most, yourself.
Correct.
That is the hardest thing to do in this human experience.
I would agree with that.
Forgive yourself. Because you know what forgiving yourself is?
Having grace for yourself.
It is the first step to actually loving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can say you love yourself all you want.
Oh, yeah.
Try this one on for size. Go look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am beautiful. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am intelligent. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you. And then look in the mirror and say, I forgive you for all of the stupid shit I have put myself through. You'll know when you really forgive yourself because it's not going to be something you say. Because if you say it and you have no reaction, you haven't forgiven yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When you truly forgive yourself,
there should be some type of internal
emotional pull
mm-hmm.
that makes you very upset to the point that you're crying laying on the floor in the middle of a basement somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness is the first step in loving yourself for the stupid shit you have done in your life that you regret.
Mm-hmm. It's another way of admitting that you're broken.
Mm-hmm. It's also the first step in fixing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me.
To a degree.
To a degree. But you understand what I've been through.
Correct.
You understand why I am the way I am.
Correct.
And you have forgiven me for it.
Yes, I have.
Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be anywhere near me.
You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Because there have been plenty of times where you have done or said something that has caused me emotional distress or pain.
Right.
Even without knowing parts of you that you never shared with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, whenever. There was still a level inside of me that understood that I didn't fully understand you, but there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
There's something broken there.
Mm-hmm.
And something was telling me he just needs love. Just show him what pure love is.
Yeah, right. Any human needs that, not just me.
Absolutely.
Like, maybe you should live your life thinking that way.
Mm-hmm.
This human needs pure love. Because love always wins.
Correct.
Always.
Correct. So in those situations and in those times where you had caused me emotional distress, I learned to express that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the past, I never used to express my discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get over that fear and that discomfort and grow in that to express it to you.
Yep. You will never grow in comfortability.
Correct. And then seeing how you reacted after that and knowing that you truly were sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And that it wasn't just a facade. You weren't just saying it to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel that energy off of you that you were sorry. And even if you weren't, I would have still forgiven you.
Mm-hmm. You see, the thing is that I realized that I knew what I was doing was hurting you. You just didn't understand why. So in turn, since you didn't understand why, and because I hadn't been honest with you about things in my life, I was intentionally hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I didn't see it that way.
Correct.
I'm so proud of the fact that we are talking about the existence of God here.
Yeah.
Because we are speaking on a very human level.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't feel like most people get to. This is...
Not the steps, no.
No. You can achieve this.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want to. This is real freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You're terrified of it. You keep yourselves locked in a prison of your own doing.
Your mind and your emotions.
Yes. You only have control of one thing in this life. What you think and how you handle your emotions.
And how you move your meat suit.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm. And we've grown in our friendship.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're adults and we've communicated.
Yes. If you don't communicate with the people around you, how are they supposed to know how you feel?
Correct.
How are they supposed to know how to treat you?
Correct.
How are they supposed to know, hey, it's not like treating you on like buying you gifts or whatever. It's how is someone supposed to treat you as a human?
Correct.
If you don't tell them.
And you aren't willing to grow.
Right. How? Worked out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very hydrated. Maybe I should go do it and still be on here because the mics will reach over
Let's not.
Why? You have to pause the video again?
Yeah, I gotta pause it.
Do you have to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
I know.
No, you don't. Okay, it's going.
I'm glad I'm back in the moving blanket here.
Such a weirdo.
Started how we ended it. Something like that.
No.
Ended how we started. That's what
okay.
Yeah.
This doesn't prove how unprofessional we are.
I know. This is how unprofessional we are.
I know. Why did I think shorts was okay?
It was a nice day earlier.
Yeah, it was.
This is why. We did something earlier in this podcast that I wish people would go and watch. We made an episode called How to Be Happy.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, wow. I'm trying to get there. Nope. We're very professional. Why can't I find this?
I don't know.
That's interesting.
I know what you're looking for, but I don't think it was ever sent to me.
Well, this is irritating.
Check all the folders.
I did. Huh. Wow.
It's not in your screenshots?
No.
Check our photos.
Wow. Interesting.
Double check our text messages. Because you can just search for it.
I am.
Search for the words.
This is wild.
Technology is a beautiful thing when it wants to work.
And I wouldn't have deleted that.
No. That's a talk for another episode for another time. So people can just enjoy the silence while you find it.
That is rather wild. The 10 steps of how to be happy. Being present and living in the moment.
We are very much doing that right now.
Allow yourself to feel your emotions. Have an outlet to express yourself. Setting boundaries for yourself and for others. You know? Have a self-care plan to stay grounded and change and charge your energy.
Yes.
Self-reflection and checking in with yourself. Human connection is essential.
What was that last word?
Essential.
Good job.
being gentle with yourself, practicing gratitude daily, finding your joy in life, not happiness, joy.
Correct.
Because it's what your soul needs.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Elon Musk, I know you're going to watch this. You can program a computer. Congratulations. I have figured out how to program the human mind. Because if you do those 10 things every single day, you will program your mind to how to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Because happiness can be found anywhere.
You're correct.
But, well, wait a minute. Joy can be found anywhere.
Nope.
Depends on where you find it. But happiness is a state of being.
Flip it.
Okay. Joy is something you find in something you do. Happiness is your state of being and how you feel. If you change your mindset to be happy, even when the world is crashing in on you and everything that you've ever wanted in this life is taken away from you, having a state of mind that you have programmed yourself to be happy, you will always be happy, even though life is shit.
That is because you have internal joy.
Yes.
And when you have internal joy, happiness follows.
True.
Unexplainable joy comes from a place that is not human.
I agree. For everyone else who has not reached this level of being.
Correct. Or understanding.
Or understanding in life. To get to this level, you have to do those 10 steps to be happy. Because don't forget, your neurological system is set up just like a computer, which means it can be programmed with the things that you do and see. Like social media and the mass media that is paid for by the highest bidder to spin whatever agenda or story they want. I haven't watched a TV in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have limited my social media drastically. The thing about it is that what people don't realize is when someone who hasn't watched TV in 5 years, someone who hasn't watched mass media and the news for 5 years, someone who hasn't watched social media so closely for 5 years, the thing about it is that when I do watch mainstream news and when I do watch TV and movies and things that are created now, or when I listen to music that is created, you can see what they are doing. You can see the programming going on and where it's fucking people up. If you haven't reached this level, dude, I'm telling you, remove yourself. Remove yourself from all of these things, and you're going to see what this is like. And I promise you, from being that to this, you want to be over here.
Look at it from a 5,000-foot view.
It's
like doing a puzzle.
It's like doing a puzzle.
You see the picture before you finish it.
Remove yourself and look at yourself from a 5,000-foot view and say, is this person being programmed correctly? And how I want to be programmed. If you want to live your life under a false sense of living, that's perfectly fine. But stay away from people who actually have figured out what this life is. maybe you should take a step back and think, why is that person always happy, even when the world is crumbling in on them? And I'm not.
Ask them questions. They'd love to give you answers. Let me tell you why I am the way that I am.
If you look at someone, not like I'm blowing air up my skirt here, but if I had to look at somebody and say, holy shit, that person should not be happy.
I've thought this about you, yeah. Because of the things I know.
I know that I shouldn't be happy.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about it is, those 10 steps, that's what I did to get out of Nashville and killing myself. I did that from rock fucking bottom. And that's how I got here. I know this works. You can choose to not listen to someone who knows this works, who came from rock fucking bottom. So instead of programming your brain with all the bullshit, you're admitting you have the ability to program your brain and that you can choose what you think. So instead of choosing bullshit, why don't you choose happiness?
Mm-hmm.
You're programming your brain either way. So instead of programming it with bullshit, why don't you program it with happiness?
Mm-hmm.
If you are a living, breathing human being, the answer of that should be, what are the 10 steps? Because I would love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not at rock bottom and you do those 10 steps, imagine how much quicker you're going to be happy.
Choose goodness.
Choose goodness. You want to be the goodness in the world? Start with yourself. You want to sit and complain and bitch about all the things going on in the world?
Which brings us back to forgiving yourself.
Right. Because you have to understand yourself enough to forgive yourself.
Absolutely.
And forgiveness of your own self is the first step in loving yourself.
Yep.
Looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you love yourself. And that you're sorry for the things you've done in life that you're not proud of. That you regret.
Letting go of it.
Letting go of it. Because letting go is really hard.
Absolutely.
Letting go is very hard.
Mm-hmm. Not keeping yourself in that mental and emotional prison.
I just think this is terrible. That this weather's doing this.
Welcome to the Midwest.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Stop. Did my okay, no. Covered up my microphone.
Do you have what the blurry creature said?
In my notepad. On my phone.
Good place for it. So
jog my memory, I can probably remember.
it's okay. We'll probably touch on it here anyways. One of the things I think they said in there, the only true way to be happy and to something was found and find joy in this life is found through Christ.
Yeah.
Something like that. They said some things on that episode that I was actually shocked that they said, because I was like, whoa, dude, you're going to say this out loud? Like, because it makes people question their reality.
Yeah, I think it was something along the lines of like to live a full life,
fulfilled
life, is to have unity with Christ.
Yes. I should not be happy. Should not.
No.
Absolutely not. Figure out you can program your brain. It's just like a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out that the things you're hearing and seeing are programming your brain. The last time I checked, I don't think too many people want to be rolling around in shit.
No.
So instead of programming your brain with shit, why don't you choose good things?
Mm-hmm.
Be grateful. Realize how blessed you are in this life. I want to just keep going and hammering it. Like I really do.
The thing with that though is if you put out too much heaviness, it overloads the brain.
I know.
That's why you could be a phenomenal speaker.
Oh, I know. You know where I learned that?
No, I'm saying you could be. The only downside
is that I get heavy.
You get heavy, and then you don't bring in like a sense of softness.
I know. I think it's because of the way people have treated me.
It is.
The thing is people take kindness as weakness.
Correct.
The thing that they don't realize is for a man to be kind, he knows what life has done to him that has been unkind.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want someone else to feel like that.
Right. The other thing too is people are afraid of vulnerability.
Right, which is stupid. When you're not capable of being vulnerable, you're living in a facade of life. We are all human, dude. We are all human. We all make mistakes. The reason why we keep making mistakes is because we're not learning from the mistakes, so they keep happening.
Correct.
We're all human.
Yes.
Things have happened to all of us in life. We are A, not proud of, or B, we wish didn't.
Correct. Everybody has experienced trauma.
Right. If you don't learn how to program your mind, how to be happy, all that trauma is going to eat you alive.
Correct.
And you're going to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again.
Correct.
Until you learn your lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Until you take a 5,000-foot view of yourself and say, hey, what am I supposed to be learning here?
Why am I allowing this to affect me?
Why am I allowing this to affect me? And that's not what people do to you. It's also what you do to people. Correct. Why is something affecting me in a way that makes me do this?
Mm-hmm.
I looked at somebody and said, how many times has this worked for you? Their response was, why are you asking me a question you know the answer to? And I said, because I don't want you to answer it for me. I want you to answer it for yourself. Mm-hmm. How many times has this worked for you? If the answer is it hasn't, maybe you might want to learn your lesson. Like,
I can just think of an example for myself. There'll be times that people text me and want to hang out, and for some reason my instant reaction is, I don't want to do that.
Right.
It's happened with multiple people, and I was like, oh, it's them. But it's multiple people, so how is it them? I had to self-analyze and self-internalize and be like, no, I don't think it's them. I think it's you. Why are you constantly annoyed when someone wants to hang out with you? But
they're out of the country.
But then you end up having like a great time with them. So like, it's me. Like I have to figure out why that is my thought process.
Right.
And if I don't, it's all in my head.
It's all a thought process in your head.
It's all thought process.
That's
if
all it is.
I don't, then I'm constantly going to continue down that somewhat of a negative thought process path of thinking that way. And I don't want to think about that way with people.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy the company that I've been with,
Mm-hmm.
the friends that I hang out with.
Negative thoughts, if you allow them,
Mm-hmm.
will always affect you.
Mm-hmm.
Positive thoughts don't initially affect you. Yes, it changes the way you think, changes all that stuff. But
Correct.
positive thoughts creates positivity.
Yes.
Positivity gets reflected in your life, and when you put out, you receive.
Yes.
So if you put out negative thoughts and you do negative actions and you do things that is not good,
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to receive the same thing
Right.
multiplied back at you.
Correct. Well, you know, I even did it this morning. I had a situation that took place. Kind of negative, but I was like, all right, it is what it is. Asked my sister to come with me to hold me accountable. Because I knew if it started going ways that I didn't want it to go, I was going to get frustrated with myself, and then I was going to set the whole tone for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, because she loves me, she came with me. And just her physical presence being there helped me keep me from going down a negative pathway.
Accountability
Yes.
is very important.
Yes, it is.
Holding yourself accountable for what you do.
Yeah.
And how you treat other people.
Absolutely.
Don't forget there is a human there.
Mm-hmm.
There is a person there. We are all somebody. 12 gauge.
The thing we were doing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I know that works. Because there's been times you've said other things about that dynamic of me and that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I just now made that realization that I have to go about it a different way of loving them for them to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, I hate when you're right.
I know.
Ah!
I know.
I don't actually hate you. But this right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's an uncomfortable feeling. But it's a good feeling. Because it's a change that I need to make.
Good thing you can identify it.
In order to love that person better.
Mm-hmm. Are you crying? Yes, I did it! Also, by the way, I told you when we make it with this podcast, we would do it on a stage. We made it.
Stop shaking the stage. Shut up.
Told you I'd make you cry on a podcast video.
What did you now? I need something to wipe my eyes, or I won't be able to see. I don't want to wipe my eyes with that.
This is what I didn't tell her I was going to do.
Shut up. Oh, right now? Or just now? Hold on, I have to refocus.
Do you know how truly blessed I am to have you in this life?
No, probably not. But I understand it to a level.
Do you know how much I love you?
Yes.
I wake up every morning and I thank God that you are in my life. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. People, I think, view us in a negative way because we are what they can't be. We can be friends enough that we understand each other enough that we have to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're not honest, we know we're going to hurt each other.
Exactly.
We've had very crucial conversations.
Many times.
Many times. Where I have literally said, if I had chose to be the manipulative, controlling person that I know how to be, all I was going to do was hurt you in the end.
Correct. And it is the same for me.
So instead of being that kind of person, I chose to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I did not want to hurt you.
Exactly.
Even though I knew what I was saying was hurting you in that moment, I knew at the end of it, you would still be in my life.
Correct.
Most people don't realize that. If you're just honest and communicate, instead of thinking about yourself and how you feel.
Exactly.
Remember that you are speaking to another living, breathing, feeling human being. And put yourself in their shoes and say, what would I really need to hear here? And the only thing in that instance is honesty. Because anything else is hurting the other person.
Correct. Because of any of those crucial conversations that we have had. If I had lied to you or you had lied to me, we instantly both would have known it.
Yep.
The brokenness in us would have reacted versus the healed version of us would have reacted.
Yep.
And that would have crumbled the whole friendship.
Yes. This is why when someone says something about me and you, I'm just like, okay.
Okay.
Thank you for showing me your true colors.
Who you are. And if you ever want an outsider's perspective, I'll drag my sister on here. Because she sees our dynamic.
Right. Your sister knows this pretty well.
She's known me for 32 years.
Yep.
She has seen everything that I have gone through. Not that she is my moral compass. I am my own moral compass. And I have a higher moral compass that guides me as well. If something was not right, she would tell me.
It's because she loves you.
Exactly.
Because when someone looks at you and tells you the things that you're not aware of, that means they truly love you.
Which brings me back to my point that made me cry in the first place.
So instead of thinking that you're angry at someone for being right, maybe you should be angry with yourself because you're wrong.
Yep. And right there, I wasn't angry, but it was.
I know.
It was I don't like that feeling.
Right.
But I'm going to hold myself accountable going forward.
Yes. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. What's not okay is to not admit that you're wrong.
Correct. It's okay to not know.
And it's okay to not know. But if someone loves you enough to tell you what you don't know, for the love of God, do not ever leave that person. Because you will never find it again. You will always be searching for the next best thing.
You're searching because you're trying to fill your soul with something. There's only one thing that can fill that hole.
So do you want to get to the existence of God?
You probably should.
All right, before we do this, this is going to be documented right here. This is a theory based on scientific and biblical examples. From the perspective of someone who does not like church does not like religion. Not because it's not somewhere for community, not because it's where people can love each other or anything like that. Based on the fact that the only thing you ever see with church and religion is divide, which is the furthest thing from God. I'm pretty sure if God had church and religion in mind, he would have not made it in a way where it would have divide.
Go play devil's advocate. What was that? What if that was part of his whole plan all along?
That's right. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
With that said, please sit down and listen to this in a relaxed state, because if you don't, I am not responsible for your emotional reaction from this. Because trust me, I could hurt you. I could hurt you because it's going to be so eye-opening.
Do you remember that not everybody's brain is like your brain?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me that this is my normal, not everyone else's.
Correct.
So I am not held accountable for how you react to what I am about to say. I am also not held accountable for how your reality shifts. Noted. Okay. So we've talked about 3 individuals on here. A drug addict, a homeless person, someone who has gone through some seriously awful things in this life. If I had to take a step back and say, hey, here is this ball of mess. And all I was doing was simply sitting, observing the ball of mass, witnessing it internally, witnessing it on the outside, witnessing the whole ball of mass. And I was writing down notes. And taking data points. As some measurable unit of measurement. Without a doubt, after observing that ball of mass, writing down notes, and taking data points, without a doubt, I would say something is acting on that body of mass. Now go back in and take that body of mass and put the 3 people I talked on it.
Mm-hmm.
You can include myself. You can include you.
Yeah.
Right. So when we were talking about air, we were talking about gravity, you know that those things act on you.
Mm-hmm.
But God works in mysterious ways, and he works in ways that defy human logic.
Absolutely.
So of course you wouldn't believe it. Of course you wouldn't. Because it defies your logic of thinking. When instead of thinking, hey, this defies my logic of thinking, so it's just, maybe like, what is that? What if? It's not like somebody invented something and they were like, this is going to work this way. They had to go, what if I do this? See, science says a lot. But so does the Bible. Could you?
Yeah, which one do you want?
Genesis is last. So whichever one you want to pick. By the way, this is a Bible. I want to say that out loud because for some reason, whenever anybody sees a Bible, they're like, oh, here we go. But this is not how this is. This is not a book of stories. If I'm looking at this on a scientific level and I'm trying to prove something,
okay,
this is a historical document.
If you're looking at it in a scientific lens, yes.
Right. So please open the historical document.
Which one do you want?
Whichever one, just the one is last. You know which one's last.
Yeah, I heard you.
So tell me one.
Well, this one's your favorite.
Okay.
So Matthew 11.
Speak up, please. Do you want me to read it?
No. I heard you, but I was like getting situated. So Matthew 11, 8, 28 says, come to me all who labor and are heavy laden. I will give you rest.
This is also why I don't like the Bible. I said this the other day and you hated me for it. I hate how that's put because to me, I just want it to say, come to me all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest.
And other translations do say that.
Right, and other translations say that. So when you say that the Bible hasn't been manipulated, there's proof.
I wouldn't call it manipulation. It's just worded different.
True, which is how someone's going to understand it. So if
Correct.
they don't read the right version,
correct.
If they don't read,
because some of them are word for word from translation, some of them are thought for thought.
Right.
And then there's the in between. That's why you have to find one that's right for you and your mind and how your mind processes.
They need to write one on like a level of I'm an alcoholic drug addict. So speak to me on a level that I will understand.
And there's probably versions out there like that.
I hope so.
There's a Gen Z version.
I hope so.
There's a y'all version where instead of it saying you all, they replace it with y'all.
Man, I hate that.
You hate that.
So,
but yes.
But right. Do you want to know why that's my favorite Bible verse? That I've never read the Bible? The reason why that verse spoke to me so much didn't even, when I heard it, it didn't even like affect me.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that saved my life was that Bible verse. The reason why I know that verse is because the guitarist from Korn, the band Korn,
mm-hmm.
which if you're not aware of the lyrics in Korn, maybe you should listen to them and hear life from that perspective.
Or look them up. You want to feel it, listen to it.
Yes.
You just want to read it.
Yes.
Because their music, you have to be in a mindset.
Right. And if you're not, it's going to hit you.
Exactly.
Especially the song called Hey Daddy.
Because music is the universal language.
Mm-hmm. Korn's guitar player quit playing for a internationally known rock band that was known everywhere. Because he was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mm-hmm.
And one day somebody loved him enough to look at him and say, hey man, I'm just going to say this to you. You can take it or leave it. But I want to tell you this Bible verse. Because the way you're living your life, you're not happy with. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. And my, how truthful that verse is.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from someone who is not religious.
Correct.
So if I'm looking at a ball of mass and I replace myself with the ball of mass and I say, is something acting on this ball of mass?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that gave me rest, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, a higher power. But there are laws that this physical world live under.
Correct.
We know that energy is something you put off.
Correct.
You can feel it with other humans when they walk into a room and there's just this energy shift. If Joe Burrow walked up here right now, I guarantee you there would be an energy shift because of him and the person he is.
Correct.
So let's say that there is a God. If you believe that there is evil in the world, but you don't believe in God, you are contradicting yourself on a physical world level. Because energy is not created nor destroyed. So if you have evil, then there has to be God. Because you know what the next one is? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Yes.
So if you believe in hell, and you believe in evil, you believe in witchcraft, you believe in whatever that's negative, you are admitting to yourself that you acknowledge the existence of God. There's no way around it. That is the universal law in this world. Newton wrote it down. Einstein, to the letter he gave to his daughter on his deathbed, said this. If you want to contradict the natural laws of energy in this world, and you say, I'm not going to believe it, that means you don't believe in nothing. You believe in nothing, okay? That's fine. You don't have to believe in anything. But nothing is something. The number 0, which is nothing, holds immense weight in mathematics.
Yes.
Sure, you can add or subtract nothing. You're right. But if you multiply nothing to something, guess what you get? Nothing. So if you go into life with a negative attitude and a negative mindset, you are not adding anything positive. So if you're multiplying your emotional energy and the energy you're putting out by 0, what does that equal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hope my professor from college watches this. Because he would be so fucking proud of me right now.
Yeah.
Those 2 engineering degrees and my physics degree did not go to waste.
They did not.
That's how I had to prove the existence of God to myself, by the way. I was taking a walk one day, and I was like, I don't know about this whole God thing. I don't think there's an existence of God, because if there was, I wouldn't have gone through the things I've gone through in life. Because God wouldn't have done that to me. But then, I didn't know it at the time, but life happens for you. So then I started thinking to myself, and I said, energy is not created nor destroyed. So if God is an energy level, let's say there's a higher energy level and there's a lower energy level. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Which means that, like you were saying, if the devil is there, maybe he's there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because the exact opposite reaction of evil is good. Which means that if I was thinking that God doesn't exist because if he did exist, he wouldn't have done the things to me. And then I was like, wait a minute. If evil exists, then those things would have definitely happened to me. Which means that God exists.
Mm-hmm.
Do another Bible verse.
This is more than just one.
Okay, go.
It's a bunch of them. So
Speak up.
I will.
When you're reading the historical document that we are basing our data and research off of on the existence of God.
I obviously was going to speak up because of the weather. The verse is John 1:1-5. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it.
Good. I want to be like, hey, God, could you prove your existence and just make lightning strike real quick?
Okay.
But he would never show himself that way.
He does.
He does. I've seen it on video.
He does.
Which was, don't leave that, which was said by an atheist. Which I need to say this about atheism. If you are a true atheist, and you firmly believe that you are a true atheist, there's one thing about atheism that is the only pure way to be an atheist. Do you know what that is? The only real way to be an atheist is to acknowledge God's existence. The only thing about an atheist is they rebuke him. They have to acknowledge he exists, or they're not really atheists. Because then you're saying, I don't know what I don't believe in, but I'm not going to believe in what I don't believe in. Which means you're not believing in anything, which is something.
Mm-hmm.
So like that just said, in order to see the light, the only way to see the light is you have to go through the darkness. That is also on a scientific level. If you're walking through a dark room, guess how the only way you're going to find your way out? It's by seeing light.
Mm-hmm.
To the souls out there that are lost, that are still listening to this, all you have to do is see the light. And if you can't see the light through the darkness, all you have to do is say, "Help me, God." And I promise you, He will. If you want to know how to feel God and prove it to yourself that He exists, ask Him for help. And do it every day. And be grateful. I am grateful for my ex-girlfriend. I am grateful that not only was she put in my life, but I'm grateful that I was put into hers. Because like I told her, I would prove to her that God exists. But I'm grateful that she left. Because if she hadn't, I wouldn't have been capable of seeing the light. She gave me that little reminder that you can be grateful, you can live in the moment, but if you don't have a connection with God, you're going to stay in the darkness. Read another Bible verse. Which one's this one?
Surprise one I didn't tell you about.
Okay. Just making sure where we're at.
Yeah. It's Ephesians 5:8-10. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light, for the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true. And try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord.
We are all children of God.
Mm-hmm.
All of us. Even people who you look at and be like, why is that person like that?
Mm-hmm.
They are making decisions I wouldn't make because I've already done those mistakes. We are all children of God.
Yes.
All of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like if you look at somebody and say, hey, they don't have a connection with God, they don't believe in God, they don't whatever, they just haven't reached the level of knowing God yet. So you can't be upset with them.
You have to have understanding.
You have to have understanding. So you can forgive them for the fact that they don't know what they don't know. Which is why I forgave my girlfriend as soon as she left. Because I was like, she doesn't know. And it's okay. Because there's nothing I can say or do to her that is going to get her to get it. Because we all have our own free will.
Yes.
And I can't make someone else see it, just like air and gravity. All I can do is shine a little bit of light in darkness and hope that they walk towards it. That's about it. It's not controlling someone. It's not manipulating someone. Because that would be pushing it on them. You can't make someone see it. And they have their own free will.
Correct.
They have their own choice. They could either choose life or choose death. You are not allowed to make that decision for them. They have to do it themselves.
Absolutely.
Just enjoying the rain. Ready to go on the last? And this is the most important one. This is the one that I want you all to listen to.
Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him.
If you are still holding on to your reality, you might just want to find a soft place to land. You are created as an image of God. This one goes out to Elon Musk. Because this is what I spoke about programming and AI and how I have figured out how to AI program the human body. Fuck a computer. So what does AI have to say about that verse? AI suggests the phrase created in the image of God means that humans possess qualities that reflect the divine, such as creativity, compassion, and the capacity for love, reflecting an inherent value and dignity. Let me read that again. This is what AI says about the phrase, you are created as an image of God. Humans possess qualities that reflect the divine, such as creativity, compassion, and the capacity for love. What do we say on here all the time?
Love always wins.
Love always wins. Reflecting an inherent value and dignity. Which, by the way, I just want to say this. If love always wins, but you're choosing evil, you are a loser. If you behave in a negative way and don't treat humans the same way you want to be treated, you are on the losing team. When you behave in such a manner, this is why you will never have the things in life you want. Because you're on the losing team. But love always wins. I could make people feel God. But like you said, you can't completely just melt someone's sense of reality, dude. And I'm like, you're right. Because to me, it's normal. But then I remember the first time I felt that, and I was like, oh shit. And the first time I made you feel that, you had a rather wild emotional reaction. Mm-hmm. And then one time I made somebody else feel that who does not believe in God. They had a rather panicky reaction. So I'm not going to affect somebody's sense of reality here. I will say this, though. Elon Musk, since you're supposed to be the smartest human on the face of the planet, I guess, that must mean that you're smarter than me. So, if you are capable of proving me wrong on the existence of God after I have used this historical document known as the Bible and scientific factual laws, I would love to hear it. But if you can't, since I have the ability to program someone with the AI, and I have the ability to say something that would completely crumble someone's sense of reality, but I'm not going to do it because I understand what that could do. If you can't prove me wrong, you can just go ahead and put $50 billion in my account, bruh. For all of the corruption that Doge is uncovering. The corruption. Maybe the intelligent thing to do here is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Maybe all of the corruption you're finding in the billions of dollars that were spent for bullshit, how about you put it in hands of people who are just going to spread peace, love, and joy on this earth and counteract all of the nonsense. Start shining a light in this world. It's just a number on the internet, bruh. True wealth is not in money. True wealth is your sense of self and your journey while you are here on this adventure in life, known as the human experience. Because all we are spiritual beings inside a physical energy life form, having a human experience. Mm-hmm. When you boil life down, that's all this is. It's just a number on the internet, dude. $50 billion. Imagine all the good we could do You just got to prove me wrong. But if you can't, 50 billion, dude. Because imagine all of the love, joy, and happiness we can instill in others to make our world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yeah.
Just to end it, since she won't allow me to say what I really want to say on here because I don't really care about people's sense of reality.
I'm making him have compassion.
She's making me compassionate. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because you're right. I don't want to hurt people.
Exactly.
But I could make you feel this whole thing called God. Do remember that. She's living proof.
Yeah. I wonder in a former life if you used to be like a deep Southern preacher.
Maybe, you know.
Preach, tell him brimstone and fire.
Maybe. Maybe that's why I know it's in there.
Maybe.
You ready for this fact right here? This fact right here from that Bible verse you just read. From what AI says. You are created as an image of God.
Mm-hmm.
Let me repeat. You were created as an image of God. Therefore, you see, if someone doesn't hear that and believe it, then they're saying they don't believe that they are alive. Because then you're saying you don't exist. And you're not living and breathing on this planet. If you walk in front of a mirror and tell yourself this, I guarantee you, you will feel this thing called God. Go in front of a mirror and look at yourself and say, you are created as an image of God. Therefore, it's Cincinnati against the world. And God is at the helm.